Top of the morning, viewers. Batman v Superman got you down. We've got a spectacular episode up ahead to make up for it, with Angelica Watts covering the latest in TV, Max Lewis with a trailer watch, and a whole lot more.
So get ready to blow up mobsters with your Bat rocket launcher and claim, oh, Batman didn't kill him, the Rockets did. Because from Ball State University, the real deal starts now.
Hello and welcome to The Real Deal, Ball State's one and only entertainment news show. I'm Aiden Hall.
And I'm Logan Sowash. Man, I've got so many things I want to talk about today. The economy, the election, environmental issues.
Well, unfortunately, we're an entertainment news show, so we should probably stick to our current specialty.
Are you saying my opinions don't matter, Aiden?
Well, they do, which is why you need to make sure you register to vote. And that goes for everyone at home. Let your voice be heard this election. Don't just be a standby to the process.
Oh, don't worry, I am. All the cool kids are doing it.
Excellent. Anyways, back to our speciality. Here to report on the latest in the world of TV is Angelica Watts. Angelica?
There will be some new faces turning around in the judges' chairs on NBC's The Voice. Miley Cyrus will be a judge, joining the singing competition for the knockout round beginning this week. She took to Twitter on Friday to announce that she has signed on to be a full-time judge for the show's upcoming 11th season. Yes, it is true. The 23-year-old singer tweeted alongside a pic of her on The Voice's stage, "I am going to be the newest judge on season 11 of The Voice." Current Voice judge Pharrell Williams retweeted Cyrus's announcement, welcoming her to the show. Williams wrote, "Congrats, sis. Welcome to the NBC The Voice family." Alicia Keys will also be joining The Voice as a judge next season. Her rep confirmed to the Entertainment Tonight on Friday. The 35-year-old singer previously served as a mentor for Team Pharrell back in 2014 season 7. Blake Shelton's rep confirmed that the country crooner will also be returning as a full-time judge next season. And NBC announced in a press release that singer Adam Levine will continue filling the fourth spinning seat in season 11. No word on whether or not Shelton's girlfriend Gwen Stefani will be returning to help mentor the country stars team, but it will certainly be a more girl-powered panel than in seasons past. Another one of our favorite TV shows is set to have another upcoming season. Nene Leakes made several appearances on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, but does that mean she's coming back for good? A source close to the 48-year-old reality star said, after making appearances on this season, it wouldn't be a surprise if she came back in some capacity. That door is definitely still open. The actress was a regular on Real Housewives of Atlanta's first 7 seasons, before returning as a guest in the current 8th season. Atlanta housewife Cynthia Bailey spoke about all of her co-stars, opening about the possibility that Leakes might return to the show. Facts of Life star Kim Fields, who joined The Real Housewives of Atlanta as a main cast member last season, announced that she would not be returning to the franchise. Well, that's all our TV news. Until next time, I'm Angelica Watts.
Thanks, Angelica. Geez, 11 seasons of The Voice. Didn't that show just start 5 years ago?
Well, yeah, 2 seasons a year.
That's not nearly enough turnaround time. There's a limited amount of The Voices I can deal with. 2 a year is most definitely over that threshold.
I personally feel overwhelmed by media too, only with the amount of trailers released constantly.
Well, lucky for all of us, we have Max Lewis on the desk to break down some recent trailers and give his thoughts. Max?
My first pick for this week's trailer watch is The Girl in the Photographs. The movie follows a small-town checkout girl with natural beauty who is bored with her dead-end job. In the midst of her turmoil, a pair of deranged serial killers begin leaving her photos of their mutilated victims. Her chance to escape comes in the form of Peter Hemmings, a hipster celebrity photographer who has traveled back to his hometown of Spearfish, South Dakota, with a pack of models intent on copying the killer's intense and unapologetic artistry. When he learns Colleen is the killer's muse, Peter resolves to make her his own and use her as the centerpiece of a photo campaign in Los Angeles. But before Colleen can leave her old life behind, she must contend with the desires of her murderous stalkers who have chosen her last night in town to execute their most provocative work to date. The horror movie trailer made me want to sleep with the lights on, so I will not be seeing the movie, but I highly recommend it to all you adrenaline junkies out there. Next on Trailer Watch is the action thriller Criminal. The movie is centered around a criminal who has a memories of a dead CIA agent implanted in him in order to complete a mission. The movie stars Kevin Costner, Gary Oldman, and Tommy Lee Jones, and it's just too far-fetched for me personally, but if you want to check it out, it premieres on April 15th. And last for the Trailer Watch is Captain America: Civil War. Political pressure mounts to install a system of accountability when the actions of the Avengers lead to collateral damage. The new status quo deeply divides members of the team. And Captain America, played by Chris Evans, believes the hero should remain free to defend humanity without government interference. Iron Man, played by Robert Downey Jr., sharply disagrees and supports oversight. As the debate escalates into an all-out feud, the Black Widow, played by Scarlett Johansson, and Hawkeye, played by Jeremy Renner, must pick a side. And I'm not really into these superhero movies, and if this turns anything out like the recent Batman movie, then count me out. But if Marvel is your thing, you can check this movie out when it premieres on May 6th. This has been this week's Trailer Watch, and I'm Max Lewis.
Thanks, Max. We'll be right back.
Hold on, Logan. We should say stick with us as our throw to commercial.
Oh no, are we having our own civil war on the hosting desk right now?
I think we've gotten there, Logan.
Oh no. Jeez, I never signed up for this.
We have to, at this point, I just hope a dweeby 14-year-old in a spider suit will back me up on this one.
Here's hoping. Anyway, stick around after the break. We've got Hannah Pulver with an Under the Radar segment, Brendan Krakowski with a Music Top 5, and a whole lot more.
If we could rescue people from a toxic environment and put them in a safe place like Chicago, perhaps they would heal it.
And I'm one of those people.
You are the only one.
Is it worth sustaining this population that's determined to destroy themselves?
What's going on here? There is currently no cure for Anna's condition.
Doctor, please. This is our little girl.
I'm scared, Mom.
Me too. We're not giving up.
Like a small boat on the ocean.
We need a solution.
Now, my family has come together.
Who says a woman has to be married?
You. All our lives.
The wedding is on!
To pull off another
Beautiful.
big fat Greek wedding.
Take a photo! All right, pull my neck. 1, 2, pull.
But you got to...
Are you saying that because he's a sloth, he can't be fast? Flash, 100-yard dash. Buddy, it's nice to see you.
Nice to see you, too.
Officer Judy Hobbs, CPD, how are you?
I am doing...
Greatest gladiator match in the history of the world. Son of Krypton versus Bat of Gotham.
You're psychotic.
That is a 3-syllable word for any thought too big for little minds.
It's time you learn what it means to be a man.
Welcome back. In these days of webbing and tweeting and tumbling, it's easy to find all kinds of new and exciting art.
Unfortunately, a lot of it may be buried under other artists, or your friend who retweets the same 3 novelty accounts constantly.
Here to talk about an artist who she feels deserves more attention is Hannah Pulver. Hannah?
You know what really grinds my gears? It's those dots in the radar that take up all the space on the radar itself, therefore hiding any other possible dots. That one big dot is so selfish and doesn't even consider the other dots. It's just so rude. In other words, I hate when big celebrities overpower all media and hide the talent of other artists that aren't getting as much attention. That's why today I'm talking about the artist Black Bear. Black Bear is the coolest of the cool. He's gaining lots of followers right now, but not enough to have a common street name. The other day I was on a hike and yelled to my friends, "Hey, Black Bear!" pointing at my phone, and all of a sudden everyone else in the hiking path started running and screaming away. So I'm thinking this artist could use a little more attention. Basically, Black Bear is a rapper slash singer, but it's not like any of the mainstream stuff in the charts right now. Black Bear has a beautiful voice, whether he's talking tracks, spitting lines, or whatever the other terms there are in the music world. His tunes are pretty freaking magical. He has 2 major albums called Help and Dead Roses, with other albums that have acoustics on them and his other works. From listening to his music, you can tell he's been through a lot and he's pretty salty about some things, but the beats are just so jammin' that you can relate to anything. Black Bear has songs for any time, whether you want to get down and boogie or look out the window in the most dramatic way possible. Or take a few hits at a punching bag with Cinderella's evil stepmom taped to it. The possibilities are endless, and that's why we need to make Black Bear more recognized. His music needs to be heard. This past year, he's been on tour with Hoodie Allen, until recently he dropped out. He was touring only as an opener, which bugs me because he deserves to be the star of the show. If you want to listen to Black Bear, I recommend Spotify. All his music is on there, and I should also say that lots of his songs are a little bit explicit, with drug references and real-life situations. If you're looking for the clean lyrics, check out Disney's Brother Bear soundtrack. Phil Collins did a great job. But Black Bear will take you on a mind roller coaster like no other. Enjoy, and let's all help get Black Bear his own giant dot on the radar. I'm Hannah Pulver, an aspiring dot on the radar myself. Stay tuned for now, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Hannah. When you think about it, are we all just dots on the radar of life?
An apt metaphor, though not perhaps what Kansas was thinking about when they wrote that one song. Question, if we're all on the radar, then who's controlling the sonar itself?
Your mother, Logan. Your mother.
Hey, I'd be proud of my mom if she had the navigational skills to locate all aspiring talent.
Anyways, Brandon Kokotsky is here to talk us through his 5 favorite concept albums. Brandon?
Oh, concept albums. Concept albums meaning a record that tells a story or presents a cohesive theme through all of its tracks featured on it, as opposed to just representing individual musical ideas, used to be a cornerstone of bands that felt as if they needed to become important or serious. While it is fortunate that we have moved on past that mode of thinking, it's still a shame that concept albums are not nearly as prevalent as they used to be. Concept albums, while they often could end up bloated and crushed by the pretensions and egos of those creating them, can still be a ton of fun and incredibly engaging to listen to. So, here's a list of my 5 favorite concept albums. Coming in at number 5 is Sufjan Stevens' Illinois. Riding off the success of his first entry in the proposed States series of albums, Stevens decided to keep his taste in the Northwest, taking a trip across Lake Michigan into the home of the Cubs, deep dish pizza, and a shocking amount of farms and average suburban life outside of Chicago. Who knew? Sufjan's songs all deal with certain aspects of the state's history, be it the infamous John Wayne Gacy case, Abraham Lincoln's rise to national acclaim, and Casimir Pulaski Day. The album is folksy, beautiful, and sometimes heartbreaking study into the state and the people that share their lives there. At number 4, we've got Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City. While I personally prefer To Pimp a Butterfly, that doesn't mean that this particular record is anything short of incredible and worth of your time. The album, employing many genres and styles of rap, follows Kendrick growing up in the city of Compton, being tempted by peer pressure and his toxic environment into a swirl of drugs, violence, and self-doubt. From the opening prayer of Shireen to the effective closing credits represented by the Dr. Dre-assisted Compton, the album tells a cohesive, believable story. It's incredibly easy to root for Kendrick Lamar after this project, and it has propped him up for even greater things to come. My number 3 pick is Ben Folds 5's The Unauthorized Biography of Reinhold Messner. Though it does have a bulky, admittingly clunky title, that does not take away from the incredible album. The album is played from the perspective of Reinhold Messner, named after the most common fake ID name in North Carolina. We follow Reinhold through his musings on narcolepsy, his time in the hospital, and his potential death. If that all sounds heavy, don't worry all too much. Though there are songs like Magic or Regrets that do play to be emotionally devastating, there are still songs such as the album's bouncy and snarky lead single Army, or the nostalgic Sesame Street-like Don't Change Your Plans that break the mood of dread. An all-around incredible album by the purveyors of piano pop. At number 2, I have The Antlers' Hospice. Remember when I said that Reinhold Messner had some light tracks to escape from the sadder moments on the record? You get no such blessing when it comes to Hospice. This album follows a hospice worker who falls in love with a doomed patient who is slowly dying of bone cancer, and leads to an emotionally turbulent love affair with our narrator. Let me be clear. Every single song on this album is devastating. Albums don't usually make me cry, but I was a sobbing mess by Wake and Epilogue. Even though the songs with less brooding production like Sylvia or Bear or Two are incredibly sad when put in context of the rest of the story. Though one does need to prepare themselves for a listen, the album is incredibly rewarding and effective, and a must-listen for all of you who are looking for a healthy dose of sad in your lives. Finally, my #1 concept album is Titus Andronicus's The Monitor. Patrick Sickles, the frontman and absolute madman behind the band, decided that the natural progression of their band should lead them to a punk rock album with a healthy dollop of Springsteen about a young man's experience with the American Civil War. Yes, the one in the 1800s. Miraculously, the album's perfect. From the opening speech of A More Perfect Union to the raucous theme from Cheers, though that song is not actually a cover of the Cheers theme, to Old Friends and New, a tear-worthy song that will make you want to put your arms around someone and sway at a freaking punk rock concert, this album truly has it all. What's more, the album's lyricism is incredible on top of the stellar instrumentals. Not only is the Civil War discussed, but topics such as depression, anxiety, alienation, and discovery of self bleed through the lyrics to create a beautiful punk pastiche. Required listening to any rock fan. That's it for my favorite concept albums. I'm Brandon Krakowski.
Thanks, Brandon. I actually just wrote a concept album about us going to break.
What kind of tracks could it possibly have?
Well, the tracks are Act 1, we'll be right back. Act 2, we've got Angela Ariema with a TV review, Our Final Word, and More, long title. And Act 3, a foregone conclusion.
Sounds pretentious and terrible.
The whole point of a concept album.
Can't fault you there. Stay tuned. Welcome back. For anyone feeling like a daredevil.
That joke isn't even funny, Aiden.
There's definitely a TV show you won't want to miss.
Here with a review of the latest season of Daredevil is Angelo Ariema. Angelo?
A couple episodes ago, I played a bit of catch-up by reviewing the first season of Netflix's Daredevil. Well, now that my binge session of Season 2 is complete, and I'm devastatingly low on sleep because of it, I can finally spread the word about the second season. So this season is obviously a follow-up to the first, which, if you haven't seen by now, what is wrong with you? But anyways, a whole new cast of secondary characters and baddies are on the scene in Hell's Kitchen looking to make life for Daredevil a whole lot more difficult. Now to start off, while I was really excited for the two primary newbies, John Bernthal's Punisher and Elodie Young's Elektra, the amount that they were used is really strange because the entire flow of this season is just a bit uneasy. It isn't really to the extent of the first season, where I felt as though the show really started to drag towards the end, but it's worth noting. Bernthal absolutely crushes his role as the Punisher, and just as you really start to like the character, they decide to take him to the background and let Elektra shine. Then you start to think, wow, she's really interesting, and then they just do the same thing to her and bring back the Punisher. It's a bit too much of a back and forth that I would have preferred some more smooth and natural transitions to. That being said, though, I think that the biggest thing I took away from this season is how much I actually care for the characters. I had no idea while watching the first season that I actually wanted to see the main protagonists succeed and come out on top, as well as see the antagonists really just, well, meet their end Punisher style. Speaking of the Punisher, I really wonder what Marvel is going to do about the fans' reaction after this season. Punisher really killed it, no pun intended. And I wonder if a character so naturally brutal and dark can really warrant his own series. But then again, the fans really are clamoring for it. At the end of the day, the writing for Daredevil is still top-notch, and I had a genuinely hard time trying not to binge it. The show is definitely a bit more of a roller coaster than I would like it to be, and the downs are a bit too noticeable, but the ups really make up for it. I mean, come on. Tell me you have zero interest in watching both Daredevil and Elektra take on a bunch of ninjas together. That's right, ninjas. So there you have it. Please do yourself a favor and add Daredevil to your Netflix queue as soon as possible. You have 2 stellar seasons of content and a whole lot of plot twists and surprises to look forward to. That's all for this week. I'm Angelo Ariema.
Thank you, Angelo. Sounds like anyone that doesn't check out Daredevil deserves to be punished.
Almost worked. You there.
Stay tuned for our final word.
He's
insist that a Christian's right to believe is subordinate to all other rights, then it's not a right.
You are out of order. I charge you with contempt.
I accept the charge because I have nothing but contempt for these proceedings.
God's not dead, he's surely alive. He's living.
Oh God, my Lord, I now begin. Oh, help me and don't leave my sin. For I repentant thou shalt be. From evil I will turn to thee. None ever shall destroy my faith. For I repentant thou shalt be. Oh God, my Lord, I now begin. Oh, help me and don't leave my sin. For I repentant thou shalt be. From evil I will turn to thee.
Let us leave the wood.
About finding out who you are. You gotta tune in, man. Do you guys want to try a little telepathic stuff? Do it. Lock in. What am I thinking about? Baseball. Having a tail. Cereal. Just thinking about sharks. Sharks have tails. That's a good point. That's a good point. I wish I had a tail. Yeah. That'd be awesome.
I know you think I'll do the test, but that's just because nobody's told me.
He's got to be a man now. I can't have you messing with this heat.
Doesn't matter if you're a pawn or a king or a bishop, you're all welcome to play on this board.
This is the best thing that has ever happened to those kids.
Go, he's so nice!
For my final word, I want to talk about one of the most disappointing superhero movie characters ever. Superman. Now, I'm not just talking Batman v Superman, I'm talking Superman in general. You see, the thing that makes Superman so interesting as a hero is here is this all-powerful being that could kill anyone without a moment's notice, and yet he doesn't. He walks in a world of glass and paper, and he realizes the fragility of man. In the comics, it's more about how he handles being Superman, rather than the over-the-top fights, dealing with the fact that he can't be everywhere, saving everyone. And sometimes people will just die. And we don't get any of that in his movies, especially the most recent ones. Superman cares more about his own well-being and feels no sympathy for turning cities into a battlefield, and it's mind-boggling. We as viewers aren't stupid enough that we can't recognize the inner strife of not being able to help anyone. But we're not even given the chance to feel that. It's just disappointing, and we keep seeing the world's best Boy Scout turn into the world's last action hero. Superman isn't super anymore, and it breaks my heart. So dear Hollywood, you want to make even more money? Give us a Superman that feels something. Give us a Supes that has a weakness. Give us a Supes that's not just an overused Jesus allegory.
Couldn't agree more, Aiden. For my pick, however, I wanted to shift from superhero movies, and I want to talk about a recent film that is far from bad, but still disappointed me in many ways. Last year's 007 film, Spectre. This James Bond installment is not the worst of the Daniel Craig 007 films, but it's definitely a recent example of something that could have been so great, yet falls flat on a few levels. One of the biggest problems with the film is the fact that they try to tie in all of Daniel Craig's films into one cohesive cinematic universe, like a Marvel film. This fails horribly because not only do each one of his films have their own unique feel, the overarching plot point about a secret organization that's been around since Casino Royale just feels lazy. I mean, really? Quantum is actually just a division of Spectre? Skyfall's villain Silva, a man who hated secret government organizations, by the way, was just another Spectre operative? Plus, you expect me to remember Mr. White, a character that 1, I haven't seen in 7 years since Quantum of Solace, and 2, only has a combined 10 minutes of screen time in all 4 Craig films? These questions alone only scratch the surface of an idea that obviously wasn't developed and refined like it needed to be for this film. And what pains me even more about this film is the acting in it. Daniel Craig looks like he's sleepwalking for the majority of the film. Léa Seydoux's Bond girl was on the right track but doesn't get enough development to make her stand out. Dave Bautista is criminally underused as the main henchman Mr. Hinks, and so on. However, nothing in the acting department is as disappointing as Christoph Waltz's big bag villain Oberhauser. This should have been a role he killed. A role that would have been up there with the likes of his Inglourious Bastards and Django Unchained performances. Oh, but no. Instead, we get a villain that is so underwhelming that it's painful to watch. Plus, his character's connection to Bond is one of the most laughable directions I've ever seen a writer take such a beloved character. It's a direction that should have been cut out of the script from day one. And besides all of that, I don't hate the film. The action is good, the cinematography is beautiful at times, and the opening credits make Sam Smith's decent theme song work perfectly. I just wish that they could have done a better job following up 2012's Skyfall. And before we go, don't forget that this Friday is Ball State's very own Frog Baby Film Festival at Pruis Hall. It's student-run, open to the public, and filled with films made by Ball State students. The festival starts at 9, but the doors don't open until 8. In a collaboration with the festival, Real Deal, that's us, will be doing a live stream that is projected into Pruis Hall from 8 p.m. until the start of the festival. If you don't have any plans this weekend, definitely come out and see the Frog Baby Film Festival on April 1st.
And that wraps up the show for this week. Be sure to check out our website, Facebook, and Twitter pages for news and updates on all things entertainment. I'm Aiden Hall.
And I'm Logan Sowash. We'll see you next time.